Python offers a straightforward way to interact with the user. This interaction is primarily achieved through two fundamental commands: print and input. In this tutorial, we'll delve into how to effectively use these commands to create engaging and dynamic Python programs. The print function is used to display information on the console. It takes one or more arguments, which can be strings, numbers, or variables. Besides arguments, you can define separators such as comma to combine various values, and to define the ending value. File is used to print output into a physical file. And when flush is set to true, the result is displayed in real time. For example, in a loop, result is immediately displayed without waiting for the loop to end. Here is a basic example of print command. Here, we will display simple text or string, using the print command. String is typed inside inverted commas. Now close the parenthesis and press enter to execute the function. This is the result of our print command. You can also use commas to combine various strings and display them using print function. Think of this as a list of comma-separated words. When executed, these words will turn into a single sentence. We can also use variables in print function. Here, we are storing name and age in two variables, which we are going to use in print function. We will use the same print command, but instead of actual name and age, we will use variables this time. The result of this print statement should be the same as above, although we used variables instead of actual values. You can use semicolons to use multiple print statements in one line. Both statements are executed one by one, causing the results in same order. You can use a text separator as well, using the SEP parameter. For example, let's separate this text with dash. And as you can see, the text is separated by a dash. You can also use the end parameter to tell the print result to end with a specific value. Let's use the above example, with an end parameter, defining a specific value at the end of the print result. This is the value we wanted our print statement to end with. There are special characters such as backslash, which are used for specific purposes. For example, when used with n, it results in next line. However, we can use the r keyword to use raw string, ignoring special characters such as backslash, and print them as they are. In case of backslash, you can use double backslash to achieve the same as well. Print function can also be used to display lists, tupels, dictionaries, and dataframes. You can use the f string in your print statement to use variables and other advanced formatting options as well. For example, here we have two variables, name and age. We will use the f string to display this information in an output. If we remove the f string, the result will be like this. You can also use the f string to perform mathematical operations inside the string. Let's multiply the variable age to 2. And this is the result of our print statement. You can also use print statement with libraries such as platform to get important information about system, software, network, etc. For example, here we are using print statement to get information about operating system and Python version. Normally, we use the print function to display the results in the console. But we can also use the print function to store the output to a physical file. Let's open a file named hi.txt in write mode. The result of this print statement will be stored in the file, instead of being displayed. The file did not exist, it was created as a result of our print statement. Let's see what happens when the file already exists. Let's use the same file and change the text we want to store. Let's open the file and see what happened. The existing text has been overwritten. To avoid overwriting the data, we can open the file in the append mode instead of write mode. Instead of W, we will use A in the append mode. And this will prevent existing data from being overwritten. As you can see, the existing text has been appended. The input function in Python is a versatile tool used to interact with the user. It allows you to prompt the user for input, which is then captured and stored in a variable. This input can be further processed and manipulated within your Python program. Regardless of the type of input, numbers, text, etc., the input function always returns a string. If you need to use the input as a number, you'll need to convert it using functions like int or float. Always make sure to store the result of an input function into a variable. The text inside the parenthesis will appear as prompt. Here, user can enter their name, and since it is always a string, they can ignore the inverted commas. Now, let's use the print statement to display the data gathered using the input function from the user. And here is the result. To get numeric data, you can use int or float for decimal. Use the input function inside the int or float function. User will simply enter the number you asked for. You can use the print function to display the number you got. Or you can use the data collected using input function in mathematical calculations. For example, let's define another variable and store the age of David. Now, let's display the difference of both ages by performing mathematical calculation using both ages. This will deduct the age from the age of David and display the difference in between two string values. You can convert the result of input function into another variable type at a later stage as well. For example, here the value of x will be stored as string, which cannot be used in any mathematical operation. However, we can use the float function to convert it into a decimal number right before using it in a mathematical operation. And as you can see, the value was used in multiplication without any error. This is particularly useful when we are collecting multiple values in a single input function. We can use a single input function to collect many values. The input function will contain the prompt as usual. But, at the end of the function, we must define how the values are separated using split. Now user must enter values using the same separator as defined in the input function. Let's display the sum of x and y using the print function. We can use the int function to convert string values into numbers. And as you can see, we collected multiple values using same input function and used them in mathematical calculations. And with this, we end our today's Python tutorial. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked our tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insightful tutorials and updates.